Hi, my name is Delaney. I'm a 22-year-old female, and I wanted to share my journey. I feel like that sounds so stupid. There's 1,000 journeys out there, many more interesting than mine, I'm certain, but I'm kind of on this road to health and wellness, not just physically, but mentally as well, because I think physical and mental health really kind of coincide with one another. It's a struggle bus I've been riding for 22 years, and that's kind of where I wanted to start today. What I wanted to talk about was my journey, where I started in my health and why I am where I am today and all of that. So I'm going to start like all the way back 22 years. No, I'm not going to tell you that I was 8 pounds, 6 ounces. Just kidding. Well, I was, I think. But I was a chubby kid. That's kind of where this all stems from. Growing up, I was a chubbier kid. I was probably 5 foot by the time I was in second, third grade, maybe before then. I was always super tall, and I was pretty big and chubby, always. And that's really all I remember growing up, was being like the bigger kid. And if I'm thinking back, I think it's because my diet was Tyson chicken nuggets and Burger King. That might have something to do with it. Not necessarily my choice, but that's kind of where my parents could afford food, and not necessarily, I think it was a bit of laziness on their part and a bit of money. I think money is a huge thing. Did I just say money's a huge thing? Wow. Whoa. So I'm not going to take you through every year of my life, but when I was 12 years old, I was I was 212 pounds. And I know that number because by the time I was end of 14, beginning of 15, I had went to my doctors. I had lost a lot of weight in a very unhealthy way. But my doctor was super excited, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, you've lost this weight. You're 212 pounds. You haven't been 212 pounds since you were 12. And so that number to me really sticks in my head. And for a 12-year-old, that's a high weight. That can be a high weight for anybody, but for me, that was that number sticks in my head. So by the time I was 14, I had gotten to maybe 245, 250 pounds. And I had started to hear not necessarily direct comments about me and my weight, but you're in school, kids are mean. And I took it to heart. So I started to exercise every day after school, and I stopped eating. And this is where, for me, mental health, where I struggle, especially in my journey now. So I had stopped eating, and I had started working out, and I had lost however many pounds to get back to 212 by the time I was 15. And my doctor was super excited. People around me were like, "Wow, you look great." And I felt like accepted. I was like, wow, people think I'm beautiful now, and people think that it felt like I was worth something finally. Like, people are actually looking at me. I have a sister who is absolutely beautiful, and I have a brother who is twig thin. So I felt very out of place my whole life. I felt like the big troll walking in the room all the time. So I finally was like, oh, people accept me. People think I'm beautiful. And then at 16 years old, I really wanted a job. I wanted to make my own money. I wanted to be able to buy what I wanted to buy. So I got a job at a nursing home as a dietary aide. And it was laborious work. It was more labor than I was used to doing prior. And I slowly started to feel the effect of not fueling my body the way it should be fueled. So I started to eat and I started to gain weight, because when you don't eat, you don't fuel your body, you kill your metabolism. And when you start to eat again, your body doesn't necessarily know what to do with it. It wants to store everything, because it's like, we haven't had this in so long. We need to store it for fuel for later. So I started to gain weight back. And then I met my boyfriend. I've been with him 5.5 years. I'm still with him today. And relationship weight is real. You start to get comfortable with somebody. You start to understand that they love and accept you for who you are. And he does, and has always told me I'm beautiful every day, no matter what I look like. I'm very, very lucky to have him. And I started to slowly gain weight. And it wasn't a lot necessarily at that time, but around 16, I started to pass out from my cramps with my period, and I started to just not be able to handle it. And I also was nervous that if I ever did want to be intimate with my partner, what would happen? That's a whole different story. So I went on birth control. I went on the depot shot when I was 16 years old, and that was probably one mistake, one regret that I have. I wholeheartedly do not recommend the depot shot. For me, it gave me costochondritis. It messed with my heart. I do not recommend it. If you are on it and don't have any side effects, that's great for you. But I personally, from my experience, cannot recommend the depot shot. So within 3 months of being on the depot shot, I had gained probably 50, maybe 40 to 50 pounds. It was just like, everything was just like, take it. Like, you want to put a strawberry in your mouth? 3 pounds. You want to smell an apple? 5 pounds. It was just like hit after hit after hit. And I was like, are you seriously? I was so upset. And then a few months after I was on the depot shot, maybe 7 to 8 months after the depot shot, I started to get costochondritis, which is the costal margins between your ribs. The fibrous tissue starts to become inflamed, and it felt like my chest was tightening. It felt like a heart attack, and I would like drop. It physically felt like you couldn't breathe. I was just terrified, and I was like, I cannot at 17 years old be having a heart attack. There is no way I'm having a heart attack right now. I wasn't. So I talked with my doctor, and the depot shot had to go. I couldn't be on it anymore. So I started the pill. The pill didn't necessarily make me gain weight, but it made me hold on to weight so bad. So at 17, was I 7? Yeah, 17, 18 at this point. It was 2017. So, maybe I was 19. Yeah, it was 2017. So I was 19 years old at this point. And I was 265, 268, 270, I don't know, somewhere around there. And my boyfriend's mom was like, let's go to the gym together. Like, let's work out. We'll get this trainer. We'll see him. We'll really, really put our all into it. Okay. And I did. I put my all into it. I went 5 to like 6 days a week, an hour or more at a time. I busted my butt at the gym. I ate better. I stopped eating gluten, but that was because I started to get psoriasis. But I had stopped eating so much bread and pasta and stuff, so that I think helped a little bit. And by month 7 or 8, I'd lost 10-15 pounds. Carry the
The what?
I swear, it didn't make any sense. And I'm the kind of person, even though I'm in the medical field, I love the medical field, I don't necessarily feel really comfortable going to the doctors. That's a whole thing with my parents never taking me growing up, but I was defeated. I was like, what's the point? What's the point of me going to the gym, busting my butt, and having no result? So I gave up. Done. Was over it. And last year, April of last year, I stopped taking my birth control. I was tired of walking up 3 stairs and being out of breath. I was tired of walking to my mailbox and being out of breath. I was tired of being the duff. Not that I'm not now, but I was tired of being the duff. And if you don't know what that means, it's the Designated Ugly Fat Friend. 10 out of 10 recommend that movie, even though it's tragic. Love it. I was just tired of being tired. That's like the best way I can describe it, is just when you get to a certain weight, everything is exhausting. Making food is exhausting, so you pop in Stouffer's mac and cheese. Going to the store is exhausting, so you don't and you order food. Doing your laundry is exhausting, so you wear the same 2 pieces of clothing. It's just, everything is exhausting. So April 2019, I wanted to make the change. So I stopped taking my birth control because in my heart, I knew that it was making me hold on to weight. I just knew. I'm not saying to go off your birth control. I'm not saying that's, because if you are, that's a conversation you need to have with your doctor, with yourself, and really reflect on that. But for me personally, I knew I couldn't be on it. I couldn't. So I went off it, didn't talk to my doctor. That's just me being dumb. And I weighed myself April 2019, and I was 285 pounds. I was big, and looking back, I think like the mental aspect is a whole different video, if that makes sense, because it's so in-depth. It's just a lot. It's a whole different ball game than physical weight and stuff like that. So I started going back to my gym, the same gym that I was at in 2017. And I wasn't comfortable. I didn't think there was enough equipment at that gym. The people there always stared at me. They were all older. This was like an older kind of, it was like, it was a small business, and there was like a physical therapy place attached to it. There was a lot of older people, and I'd flip on Supernatural because that's my show, and they would want to square up with me because I changed the channel on the 25 TVs that were there. I changed one TV and I would get looks, and I just was not comfortable. So I realized that if I was going to put my all into something, it had to be all. I mean, I had to love it. I had to be comfortable. I had to have increased motivation. So I talked with my mother because my mom was paying for my gym membership. And I said, my friend goes to this other gym and it's a few extra dollars more a month. And I want to change gyms. I want to go and look at this other gym, see what they have to offer. So I did. And I go to that gym to this day, and it's the best decision I ever made. Well, I should say I went to this gym until this day because we're in quarantine, but I will be going back to that gym. I am very grateful to that gym. I've met amazing supportive friends. I met my trainer who I work with, well, before quarantine, I worked out with or twice a week. He gives me new exercise ideas every week. I never really do anything twice with him. I always feel like he's supporting me. He is a great friend and a great guy. And I'm really grateful that I changed gyms, because sometimes that's it. They're a part of it. So fast forward to January 2020, I now have lost, oh my God, 90. I've lost 90 pounds. And I'm at a place where I still would like to lose maybe 20 more pounds. I think I have more to lose for sure. And January 2020, I hit under 20 pounds. Non-existent. No, I hit under 200 pounds for the first time since I was 10 years old. I never thought that would be possible. I am really grateful for my own motivation and determination that kept me pushing forward to get where I am today. I think that your health journey, your weight loss journey, I think it's more important for it to be a health journey, because it's a overarching journey to just complete emotional, mental, physical well-being. It's not about the number on the scale necessarily. And that's something I have to remind myself personally. So from January till now, I've been bouncing between like 192 and 196, 7. And I can't get out of that range. So mentally I'm struggling there. I think around the middle of February, beginning of March, the stress with school, I started to stop eating past 3 p.m. Because I thought that would help me lose more weight. It just started to become this cyclic cycle back to when I was 15. So I quickly had to nip that in the bud. And now I'm at a place where I've kind of reflected and said, no, this is your health. You need to be healthy. You still need to eat, sis. So I've started to try intermittent fasting. I've been doing it for about a week now, I think. So I start eating at noon and I stop eating around 7, because I'm the kind of person who will binge late at night. Like, I want to eat a whole carton of ice cream at 8 p.m. So I have been doing 12 to 7, and it's been okay. I'm just here to share my story, successes that I have, workouts that I enjoy. And I think one thing that I want to be a part of my storytelling is the mental health aspect. I don't think a lot of people touch on that. I think that more people struggle with the mental health aspect than they realize or that they talk about. And that really plays a part in your physical journey. So that's something that I love to talk about and explore, because it's just so integral. It's like this completely. So that's my story. That's where I am now. I'm around 194-ish area. I try not to weigh myself every day because, again, mental. So if you have any questions or ideas or anything you'd like to hear from me, please let me know. I am pretty much an open book. I don't think that hiding anything would help anybody. If I'm trying to express my journey and try to help those who are kind of in the same situation as me, why would I not be transparent? So that's where I am today. I'm really grateful. And yeah, this is really awkward. I am gonna have to watch this back and I probably will barf. So can't wait. It was like so rambly. I'm so sorry. There is so much I want to fix, so much more editing I want to learn if this continues to go any which way. I just want to say that, I'm just sharing my journey. I'm not pretending to sit here and be an expert, like everything I do is great and all I've ever done is perfect and everything has been a success, because that's so far from the truth. I'm here to share honesty. I'm here to share my struggles. I'm here to share it all and hopefully help people who are in the same kind of boat as me, and hopefully some people help me along the way too, because this is a shared journey if I'm sharing it, right? So I'm gonna leave it at that. There's a lot of things I want to adapt on filming wise, so any suggestions, please let me know. And that's all I have to say to myself is this look.